that I'm telling you that gives you just a little extra oomph when you're up on that plate for the Guards. What a win last night for the Guardians, coming on back on the Twins, setting themselves up for a great week. Magic numbers aplenty, and what a win that was for the Guardians last night. Stephen Vogt, you could tell that win meant something to him last night. What a great job from the Guardians last night. We got plenty of Guards to get to throughout the show. Browns still living in the glory from Sunday's win. Plenty of Browns to get to as well. We got power rankings. We got Burke v. Brook Park up for today's show as well on a 2 for Tuesday. I've got NBA coaching ranking from CBS Sports. That one is very interesting. Plenty to get to here on the show. We're going to kick off with some Browns, but we got plenty of Guardians coming up right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have you alongside. I already got to put the request in right. We got to get a Kyle Manzardo shirt rolling here for Big Play. I need one of those. We'll get to that. We got plenty of Guardians that we're going to discuss, but we do have Noah Weiskopf joining us to kick off the show this morning. Noah, of course, on Twitter, X at Browns with Noah. We got plenty of Browns to talk about. Noah, what did you think of the Manzardo home run last night, man? What a bomb that was.
It was electric. Absolutely electric. That was awesome to see. And then especially Naylor standing at second and then waiting for him at home, and then Vogt after the game. Whole situation, that was all great.
Yeah, we got plenty of Guards, but we're talking Browns with Noah as we're still basking in the glory from Sunday. And Noah, we start right out with your biggest takeaways from Sunday. We had a long discussion yesterday about the progression of Deshaun Watson, and I was never one that was going to put this all on him right away. I need to see the incremental improvement, and I thought he looked like an average quarterback on Sunday, which again is an improvement from week one. What were some of your biggest takeaways from Watson's game?
I think that the most important thing is that the offense was, I don't know what the way, functional. The offense was functional. I don't know if it could have looked worse than it did in week one, but that first drive it showed a lot of promise, right? 16 plays, you drive down the field, score a touchdown there at the end. I think that he played better, but still not great. He had a couple of flashes, which is not anything you saw in week one. But yeah, I think he played better. I don't think it was perfect by any stretch, but I think that's sort of just what it was. That's just what it had to come down to. Coming off a game like that, I think Kevin Stefanski really wanted to make sure that he got into a rhythm early. That scripted first 15-ish plays, you could really tell that was, what Kevin Stefanski had envisioned. That's what we've seen a lot of. So now the question is, are they going to be able to improve on that? Are they going to be able to implement some of Ken Dorsey's stuff? I know there was obviously a twist in there with some Ken Dorsey schemes and ideas, but are they going to be able to evolve that offense to stretch the ball down the field in the coming weeks?
Yeah, we saw a lot of 5 wide receiver, and I know that's kind of predicated on David Njoku. Want to get an update with you here in a minute, but I think it was predicated on that, but you still had a lot of spread. Jerry Jeudy with probably, it was 2 games, but his breakout game for the Cleveland Browns. And people are worried about Amari Cooper with the drops. Just your take on Judy's game, and are you concerned about Cooper right now?
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy played phenomenal. He really had a connection with Deshaun, which was, I think, surprising to see for some people this early on in the season. But it looks like him and Watson have a really good chemistry. In terms of Cooper, not worried whatsoever. How could you be after what he's been able to show during his time in Cleveland and just time in the NFL overall? But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm worried about him. And Jeudy looks really good. And I thought before the season started that there was a chance that Jeudy could sort of take over as the quote-unquote wide receiver 1 and potentially lead this team in receiving yards. The Browns love him, given why they gave him an extension right after they traded for him. So they do really believe in his game.
Noah Weiskopf joining us, Browns with Noah, Twitter and Instagram. To the injury front, we know David Bell, which is just such a bummer for him, dislocated hip. He's going to be out after the surgery. But to Njoku, where Kevin Stefanski opened that door, left the door open, that he could play this weekend. No, I don't want him to play. And in fact, I would say, okay, number one, I don't think you need Njoku to beat the Giants. All right. And that's, I'm not saying the Browns are the Chiefs, so you can just walk over anybody. But if that ankle, which can be serious problems throughout the season, no, I wouldn't even practice him. Because this as well as I do, and I know a lot of people do. When you're in a week of practice preparing for a game, that's a lot different than a week of practice healing up and getting your injury right. I almost don't even want him out on the practice field and already rule him out. Now, I'm sure Stefanski's playing games to try to get the Giants to think that Njoku is going to play this weekend. We'll talk O-line right after Njoku, but just starting with David Njoku, thoughts if he should play, or do you have anything, do you think he might play this weekend?
I would be stunned if he played.
Good.
I would be stunned. And usually when Kevin tells the media that someone's week to week, it's definitely on the weeks side of things, not just week. I would be stunned if he played. I originally envisioned that he'd be out like close to 4 games. But obviously that there was a chance that he returns 4-4 if they didn't want to put him on the IR for sure. So just, being able to get him out there at some point, get him to start practicing and seeing how that ankle feels. I don't think that there's really any chance he plays this weekend. I would be stunned.
Now, the question asked about Jed Wills and Jack Conklin, because here we are again, Noah, and I know they need him out there. They want them out there. Conklin was close. They said you got through it with Hudson. I think we've all seen it. And again, I don't mean to crap on James Hudson. He's your swing guy for a reason. Thoughts on the O-line as we get ready to go for Sunday? I would imagine it's got to be Conklin, right? He's got to be the closer one. If he was that close this past weekend, he's the opposite of Njoku, where I'm fine sitting down David Njoku. I need Jack Conklin out there this weekend. No, do you think we finally get it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's sort of been my expectation, especially in the middle of the week last week, assuming that he wouldn't play that weekend against Jacksonville and then get another week under his belt, come back, play his first game at home. I think all that helps. And I think, honestly, that he will come back this weekend. But it's still up in the air. It's not a given. And he has to have a good week of practice again and then feel good at those sort of 48 hours leading up to the game. I wouldn't be surprised if they list him as questionable, game time decision again. I do think that he will play.
Denzel's injury. So he was on the pitch count, and it seemed like even the 11 plays, I feel like half of them he still made a play or something when he was out there, but still something to monitor there. And on his shoulder moving forward. But you still have MJ, you still have Greg Newsome that made some plays, but now Miles with the foot. I mean, we know this is the NFL season. Guys are going to get dinged and they're going to get banged as we go through the season. But those are things, 2 of your biggest guys, Miles and Denzel on that defense, and they're both harboring injuries right now.
And it's awfully early for that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? You see those nagging injuries like the second half of the season, but to know that, they're dealing with this kind of stuff after the second game, or for Denzel's case, it seemed he went into that game limited. They knew that he would be on a pitch count like that, and 11 snaps. And like you said, the plays he was in, he made some nice plays, but pretty surprised that they only let him play that amount of time, especially in a game where people underestimate the value of a 0-1 versus 0-1 team, like a game. I mean, that's a big game, right? Like nobody wants to go 0-2, and that's significant. There's stats that show that a team that starts 0-2 hasn't done this or can't do that, So that's a significant game, and they had to win that game. Which they did. It wasn't pretty, but it's definitely something to watch with Miles, who admitted after the game that it was not the best to play through that. And then Denzel, obviously. Yeah,
they had on the Monday night last night, because obviously they were talking about the Falcons, that in the past 3 seasons, 21 teams have started 0-2. Only 2 of them have come back to make the playoffs. 19 of those 21 teams missed the playoffs. Now, again, that's, talking about the Giants. That's talking about some really bad teams. But as far as the stumble out of the blocks here for Jacksonville, who I look at and I say, hey, we thought they'd be wild card contenders. You get that out. Okay, I don't wish injury on Tua. I don't wish injury on anybody. And that was bad to see. But now Miami seems to be scrambling a little bit. Oh, wait, Cincinnati, Baltimore 0-2 as well. Like, no, we battle this a little bit about this wave of relief that we get with a win. And we feel good, and we should, and it's a lot better than starting 0-2. But it's almost like, okay, we got this first one over. But I think the team needed that. The team needed that little just sigh of relief to be like, okay, we got the one. We're back in this thing now. We see how everything else is playing out. And get after the Giants. That's why I think you and I are on the same page with that. I felt like Sunday was a must-win game for the Cleveland Browns, and they got it done. And now I think I get that sense a little bit, certainly from the fan base, and I'm sure that'll bleed over to the team a little bit, of just a little pressure. Not a lot, but a little pressure taken off.
The NFL is certainly a week-by-week league. And when Kevin Stefanski tells his team after every game, like, we're taking it one game at a time, they're going 1-0 every week, that's, like, genuinely what they believe. Like, that's just not for show. He's not just saying that and the players don't believe it. The players are totally invested in that and understand that it's a new game every week. I know I'm comparing this, but Ryan Day said that for Ohio State, it's not a marathon. The season's not a marathon. It's 12 straight sprints. That's, I think, really what it is. It's you're playing every game to the fullest. It's not a marathon by any stretch. You have to go every game as hard as you can, but it really is a 1-week season every single week.
As we get ready for this week, obviously we'll keep eyes on Njoku and the offensive line. You know, Watson in practice, I'm wondering about that evolution of kind of the steps forward. Okay, we had some base stuff, and I thought they ran pretty easy stuff for Watson and tried to make it easy for him. But really, no, as you get into this week of practice, anything you're really circling to see what comes out of Berea?
Well, if you want those short yardage plays to work, those short passes to work continuously, you have to have a deep threat. You have to be able to throw the ball over the top because teams are going to catch on to that really, really quick. This is the NFL. They're not going to allow you to throw those 8 to 10 yard, 5 to 10 yard completions every single play. Teams are going to step on that. And I understand and definitely agree that they should have been able to get the ball out really quick. That's what Deshaun did. But you have to have a deep threat. You have to be able to throw the ball over the top and have a dominant running game to be able to sustain those short yardage throws. So I'm looking for them to continue to evolve the offense a little bit. Now that you see Deshaun's comfortable period, now you can start to open up some other things and try to get him throwing the ball down the field a little bit, get some of those deep completions and see some chemistry with a guy like Amari Cooper down the field.
Absolutely. No, really appreciate your time, man. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter at Browns with Noah. I can't let you go. This is a question from the fans out there. Are you related to Tom Weiskopf, the golfer?
I'm not.
No.
It's a very common question, but nothing to my knowledge.
I was going to say, he's not like a second cousin removed. He's from Massillon. I wasn't sure.
I know. It's super weird. We're from very similar areas. And yeah, no relation known to me.
It's not the same thing. Like Fontana, there was another guy that worked in radio. And somebody came up to my dad one time. They go, "Oh, hey, you have 2 in there?" And he goes, "Nope, don't know the other one." Not even like a cousin, like so far removed. So wow. I just had to ask about Tom Weiskopf. So you're not. I'm at the last, probably not the first nor the last to ask you that question.
Well, sometimes for fun, I'll say yes.
That's fine. Are you a good golfer?
No, awful.
Oh, well, there you go. There it is. All this. No, really appreciate it. Go follow him on Instagram, Browns with Noah, and we'll talk to you. Try to catch up maybe later this week, if not next week. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Appreciate it. There he goes. Noah Weiskopf, always gracious with his time. Noah's a busy guy. He's got school. He's not related to Tom Weiskopf. That'd be a lot busier if he was, but he's got a lot going on. So great stuff there with Noah. And I think, with the Njoku stuff, which we'll talk about, I'm fine sitting him down. I don't think you need him to beat the Giants. Let's get this ankle injury flushed on out. Let's not worry about it, and we'll take it from there. So, again, great stuff with Noah. We got to flip right back to the Guards, though, baby. What a win last night. Let's go. And I got to tell you, I had that little feeling because there was opportunities for the Twins to just blow that game out. And I was like, man, it's still just 3-0. And man, like we're still kind of hanging around in this game. And Ryan, it goes again to sit there and say that this freaking bullpen, man. And Boyd kind of struggled. It was just that one. He was mowing him down. He had like 4 strikeouts in the first couple innings. Then control that one at bat that he had somebody down 0-2, ends up walking him, I think, to load the bases, if memory serves. And you're like, all right, so you pull him out. What does Vogt do? He goes, all right, we're going to go to Avila. And this is the standard. We're just going to keep this afloat and see if we can go. But you went leading up to Emmanuel Clase. Boyd only went 2 2/3 innings. So you went 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You went 6 1/3 innings. 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball by Avila and Sobrowski, my guy Eli Morgan. And then Walters, who they just called up. Was that his first career win? I think it was. And you didn't have to burn Gaddis. You didn't use Cade Smith. You didn't use Tim Herron in that game. Now, again, when Manzardo hit that, Class A, get up and get going. Man. Dude. When he struck out Carlos Correa, and I will still hold the Houston stuff against him. I just will. But that was so gratifying because you saw Correa foul off a couple of pitches, and you could see him sitting there like, I think I got this. And Clase just blows him away, man. That game yesterday was going back to the Guardiacs, right? When we were playing well in May and you were winning these games where you came from behind, and then that stat, I didn't want to say the stat because it's going to knock on wood.
Oh, yeah, I know
that
exactly
streak that of leading in the eighth inning, right?
Yep.
They don't choke those away. Like, the fact that this team showed that last night, but with other guys, like, dude, I'm going to keep looking at Angel Martinez. 3 for 4. And I loved him when he came up the first time. He's back up now. You're letting Kwan. This was you got to sit down and get right. You want to go where you want to go? Stephen Kwan has got to be a part of that. And we talked about this. I thought they might have been a week or two late in doing this, of just sitting him down and letting him get right, get some rest. Okay, you got Angel Martinez come in and go 3 for 4 at the top of your lineup. That certainly helps. And then you have a guy like Kyle Manzardo, one swing changes the whole game. You got to remember Josh Naylor hit that. Like, the fact that they're piecing this together the way that they are to get an emotional win like that last night. And I meant to put this on. If you could pull up the vote clip, I want to play it for everybody. To see the emotion that he had for that. And we talk a lot about baseball and what Terry Francona did so well with this team. You have got to create a culture in baseball. And you got to create a culture in any sport. But baseball is the one you see these guys every single day, and it's a long, long, long season. You have to have the little things. You know, when guys come around second and they go like that, you know, the team aspect of it is so vitally important. And that was something that I questioned if Stephen Vogt would be able to pick up from Terry Francona. Now, what I loved about Vogt was he's a former player. He understands that. And they've cultivated and created that culture of these guys. And you get guys that are unsung heroes like Manzardo and Angel Martinez that prove to be big players for you coming down the stretch. Last night was so great to prove to this team, I think, that they belong to be competing for the World Series. I thought about this for a 2 for Tuesday. Do you think the Guardians are going to the World Series? Do you think that they're going to go? We got a litany of questions to get to today. We got plenty of Browns coming up in a second. But, like, and again, victim of the moment maybe. I was emotional. It was big. It was huge. It was awesome. But, like, I sit here and I really see the path for this team, especially when I already see the projected playoff seedings. And I saw the bracket yesterday sitting in that 2 seed right now. You get that bye, and you're getting contributions from, I don't say all throughout the lineup, but you have unsung heroes step up in a game that Jimenez and Ramirez, they both had hits. They were, 3 for 8? In the middle of that lineup, you mix in Naylor, you go ahead with Manzardo with the big. That's what you're going to need as you start to get into September. And also in a time where the starting pitching is starting to falter. You're starting to have, Boyd didn't have a good start. Cobb's still on the IL. Like, you're finding ways to win games, especially against a Minnesota team that you just buried. And Hammy was talking about on the broadcast, and I was listening to this. Baldelli ripped his guys. He said that, I can't remember what series it was. It might have been the Yankees series. I can't remember. He came out in the media and he said that was a very unprofessional series of baseball we played. That's about as big of a shot as you can have as a manager in the media to your baseball team. Twins are cooked. They're done, man. They're done. I'd love to just bury them in this series. And we get geared up for this weekend coming up, Cardinals, and you can clinch and potentially got a big game tonight. Not wishing away tonight in any way, but last night was such a big win. Now, after it, Stephen Vogt. And I want to talk about Vogt after this, but I think we've all seen the clips. This is courtesy of the Guardians, everything. This is Stephen Vogt after that game. He gets emotional.
Yeah, he does get emotional.
That's the kind of stuff that this team does.
Get a little emotional.
Cutting onions, dude.
You're proud of the way they play.
I love these guys.
It's like a dad.
I know.
They're so much fun to watch. They love each other. They work hard. That was an emotional night. And to see 2 teammates come together like that, that's powerful.
That goes so long, man. That goes so long.
Yeah,
Want to
it
watch
does.
it again?
Yeah, we can watch it.
I'll
again.
watch it again.
So that's me when I win a parlay.
Get a little
That was me
emotional.
watching Kirk Cousins go down.
That shit means something to
I love
me,
these
man.
guys. They're so much fun to watch. They love each other. They work hard. That was an emotional night. And to see two teammates come together like that, that's powerful.
That's it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that when you talk about the building of this culture, they're going to go fight for Stephen Vogt. And he needed to prove himself to this team and prove himself to this town. And obviously, he's very clearly done that. We talked about we don't get too sensationalized around this show and things like
Go
that.
ahead, ask it. Go ahead and ask it.
Oh, it's not even what I was going to ask. I'm going to say something else. You know the question I'm going to ask, though.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. I'm about ready to rubber stamp this. Stephen Vogt can stick around here for about 10 years. Like, I'm almost to that
All right.
point.
No, you're not.
I am.
That makes
I am.
No, you're not.
Dude, okay, because what was the greatest thing about Terry Francona, right? He created this team and this culture that even when it went bad, even when we didn't have successful seasons, these guys were still together, right? I don't have it like Rocco Baldelli bitching at his guys in the media. I don't have it where the White Sox players basically go to front office and go, we don't want to play for Pedro Grifol anymore. Now, again, losing will create that. But even when the Guardians were struggling, they were still together in this whole thing. Last night, seeing that from Stephen Vogt are things that galvanize a team that says even when it gets tough, we're gonna stick together. And I'm gonna fight for that manager because he goes to bat for me. And he's got things like that don't just get created. Yeah, you can be teams that just win 100 games. Like, okay, this is unfair. This is unfair, but this is honestly what I thought about last night when I saw that clip. Do you see that happening with Aaron Boone and the Yankees? Could you ever envision something like that happening? I can't because it's different. And I'm not even talking big market versus little market or what they spend or what we spend. It just feels different here. And I'm not trying to get sappy Midwestern Clevelanders. You know, we love our own and we fight for one another and all that. I'm just talking about that is something that every team strives for. And you created it moving on from a Hall of Fame manager in a rookie manager that's no question going to win Manager of the Year in his first year. And you've created something that I think teams take years to try to get. And yes, it's still going to come back to talent on the field and getting timely hits and pitching well and all of that. But if I start with that, if I start by saying that this team is together in this, then I'm willing to let it ride, man. I'm willing to see what can happen once you make the playoffs. And again, I'm uber confident in this team. I have been uber confident on this team. But I'm getting sappy and emotional about it too, Ryan, where I'm all in on Stephen Vogt. That kind of stuff resonates. And that kind of stuff, you're telling me if you weren't a player and you saw that clip, you're not walking in today and having a little bit more for Stephen Vogt?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to see a playoff game before I sign up a dude.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready. He's it, man. He's it. You know, let's talk about these quarterback lineage where you go just straight from Favre to Rodgers to what. I feel like that with the Guardians managers. I really do. I feel like you went from a Hall of Famer. I'm not ready to say Stephen Vogt's a Hall of Fame manager, but like the start that he has had, the wins are great, but it's how this team plays. It's that kind of stuff that I think you grab onto. Now, the question that I posed to you this morning, if Stephen Vogt won a World Series, would he overtake Terry Francona? Okay, then we get into the debate of who is the best manager in Guardians Indians history. And we can go back to,
Manny Acta.
I was a big Eric Wedge guy. Charlie Manuel. God, Manny Acta. Oh, Manny.
Okay, so
Maybe Joel Skinner interim?
I have to word this very carefully.
I mean, here's the thing. Like,
if Stephen Vogt wins the World Series this year with the Guardians,
would he pass Terry Francona in your mind?
Would he pass Tito?
I feel like I gotta put Tito.
That's fine. I mean, again, it's like it's a complicated question because it's like a lot of ifs and buts and candies and nuts, and I get all of it. But it's like when I first thought about it, and Terry Winslow, we should have won that damn World Series, but he did.
In terms of what? Like
It's just the best manager in Guardians history. And then again, that opens up because people say Hargrove. You know, it's all about your sliding scale.
And your ranking of all-time managers.
I mean, I would have to think, and again, I can't go back to the 40s. There's not many of us out there that can go back to the 40s and tell you about the managers they had back then, right? Like, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about.
How does that sound? If Stephen Vogt wins the World Series this year with the Guardians, would he pass Terry Francona in your ranking of all-time Cleveland managers?
Sure. It's 2 for Tuesday. 2 questions, 2 answers. We'll get to the second one coming up. But like I thought about that.
It's gonna get some sauce.
I mean, it's kind of a blood money question because it's hard to compare. It's hard to look at a guy like Terry who's gonna walk into Cooperstown. Is it gonna bother you if he gets back into manager? Sounds like that's out there, man. That scuttlebutt is out there. Yeah, it sounds like Terry wants to come back. Where's he gonna go? Chicago?
I don't care.
Go take that team over. That'd be a lot of fun. It's hard because like with Vogt, as great of a job as he's been doing already, even in year 1, I am sitting there and I'm saying, like, where does he start ranking in this whole thing? Like, you're right. I already feel like he's better than Eric Wedge. And that's hard because Wedge was in a ALCS and we should have gone to that World Series, would have won that World Series.
Yeah.
In 07. You know, Acta and Charlie Manuel, like all that. And manager, it's one of those like kind of unsung jobs. You forget about it. You don't think about it so much because of the play on the field. And we just, I think at a point, probably took Terry for granted because he was here for so long and had so much success. Obviously not an easy job when you look at all the health issues he had to deal with. But I guess it's like to not skip a beat, to truly have the baton handed off. And I don't think the Guardians missed a beat. And whether or not they're better, I don't want to say that they're better under Vogt than they were under Terry. And it's, again, comes back to players and all that kind of stuff. But last night, and the reason this is really on my mind, seeing Vogt get emotional like that kind of beckons back to the teams with Terry and the love that they have for one another. That was the best thing that Terry could have ever done here. He created a culture. He created a family. And I know that there were unsavory things about Terry and the whole Mickey Callaway situation, too. We can't bring this up without talking about that. But as far as the culture in the clubhouse, it was undefeated. It was the best thing about the Guardians. And then, yeah, they had Andrew Miller and they had, Jose Ramirez and Francisco Lindor. Like, yes, they had really good players. But, like, that culture is where it started. And I don't feel like they missed a beat. I don't feel like they have missed anything going from a Hall of Fame manager to Stephen Vogt. And I'll admit, I'm sucked in by that emotion, man. I'm sucked in by that. And I just think it's going to go a long way with his, not that saying he didn't create that already, but Ryan, they created something pretty special with this team. And I like it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for playoff baseball here. It's going to be awesome.
I'm trying to like draw a similar comparison to this question. Like, if let's say, and this is kind of a strange comparison, but it's quite literally the only thing I could think of right now, and I couldn't think of another example, Cleveland related, but like if just for some reason, right, next year, Sean McVay coaches the 49ers, he wins the Super Bowl, you would say Sean McVay's higher on the 49ers all-time list than Shanahan was.
Well,
you have a guy who was a perennial contender but couldn't finally get it done,
right,
versus a guy who might not be there, who wasn't there as long and doesn't have the longevity success in that city. But what did he do? He got you to that finish line that the former manager couldn't. So that's what you're saying with Stephen Vogt.
Well, it's how much do you want to hold the championships is the most important.
Which it should be everything.
Right, I get it. And again, I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse. We got a long road to go. But it's that kind of stuff that you look at. I guess I put it this way.
Like if Kevin Stefanski, well, I guess it's not fair to Paul Brown because he was so
That's
good.
what I'm saying. Yeah. It's so hard to go back and compare from past generations and all that other kind of stuff. Like Terry and Vogt are comparable because they're here. We all remember them. They were a part of this. But the thing is, I don't think you can win without setting the base that Terry did and now what Stephen Vogt has done. I just don't think there's any way to win without setting that. And now that they've done that, I'm going to go out there and ask them to win the playoff series. And, the other thing, I was thinking about this too. Like, this team, obviously you need to win playoff series. Like, there's no question about getting to the playoffs, and we're going to get there. We're almost World Series or bust. Like, I really
see, but you can't do that. You can't do
deep
that.
down
You can't.
feel. And
I don't think that's fair.
That makes it out that I would do a show the day after we get eliminated in the LCS, and I'd sit here and I'd complain. And I wouldn't. But I fully have expectations of the Guardians in the World Series.
I understand
fully
that.
have those right now.
But at the same time, right, we're riding this high. What in the season makes you truly believe that they could go toe-to-toe in a 7-game well, I don't want to say that. There's obviously, I'm not discrediting the Guardians. They're a very good team.
Sure.
But what makes you truly think it's World Series or bust where they should, in fact, beat the Yankees, beat the Orioles in a 7-game series?
They're scrappy.
They are scrappy.
They're scrappy.
But when you're playing these juggernauts in a 7-game
the
series,
Yankees
we were
lineup is
scrappy.
hurt.
But
They're
Matt,
not
we
all
were
the same.
scrappy.
Look
But
at the
here's my
Orioles
thing:
lineup.
we were a scrappy team. What happened? We still got bounced by the Yankees. That doesn't matter. At some point, payroll and talent matters.
I understand
Unfortunately,
that.
it does.
I get that. I also look at baseball. How many wild card teams have you seen make and win the World Series? They're different than a lot of the other sports.
You're absolutely right.
Where if you just catch a hot streak and you get your guys in the right spot, that's why I think it is so vitally important to get Quan this rest and get him back. And to get even another week's rest while they're playing the wild card round. I'll kind of circle it this way. I think there's a belief.
We're getting sappy Hallmark movie now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a belief. I believe,
the bad
man.
News Bears.
That's all I ask. And yeah, you're right. I get that we would not be favored. I understand that we'd have to face Judge and Stanton and Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, and I get all of it. I understand that.
Maybe Bobby
And
Witt.
it ain't going to be easy. But there's a belief that I have.
And they should have a belief.
And I think they do too.
No, they've proven.
I think they do too.
They deserve us to believe. They've given us enough reason.
I think they do too.
I'm just saying, on a World Series or bust claim, we got to pump the brakes.
I shouldn't maybe say that. It's more of expect is probably the wrong word again.
But I'm just saying, I'm not saying you're not valid to have those expectations, but remember, imagine you saying that sentence 5 months ago.
Yeah.
World Series or bust, this team, Cleveland Guardians. It's nuts.
It's just,
it's crazy.
I'll put it this, okay, let me rephrase. My World Series meter has never been as full as it is right now.
I like that way to put it.
You like that better?
Yeah.
You like that better? Yeah. My World Series meter has never been higher in this season.
Fair enough.
Than it is right now. And
That's
it's
fair.
not that I would be, again, I want them to go. I think they're going to go. I really think they're going to go. That's just kind of where I'm at. Again, 1 home run last night. Change of how many shows did we do where I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, do I feel like crap. And man, does this team piss me off. That's baseball. But here we are. An emotional win last night. I love that from Vote. And here we are. So plenty of Guardians to get to. Vote on that at Matt Fontana Show. Are people taking it in the right way a little bit? Or are people kind of...
No, I think so.
All right. Understanding.
I mean, it's 50-50.
Okay. Well, that's all we got to ask for here. All right, back to the Browns. We started with Noah this morning. We appreciate him with his time. I think the biggest thing coming out yesterday would be the Njoku, where Kevin Stefanski left that door open that he practices. I don't want him to.
I don't either.
I don't want him to. Sit him down. Don't even bother practicing him. Get him ready for the following weeks. I don't think we need David Njoku to beat the Giants, although they're going to be coming in here extremely hungry. I know Daniel Jones looks a little bit better, but still... You don't need David Njoku. Get this ankle injury figured out. The offensive line, though, and Noah said it, we feel like Jack Conklin's finally going to be his week here. I think it's got to be, Brian Burns is a good pass rusher. Like, there's going to be some pressure from that defensive line coming up, but I also think it's not nearly as bad as you face. You should be just fine. And getting Conklin out there, I think, is just a little bit more of the steps in the right direction for this team right now.
Yeah, I don't want Njoku playing at all. I don't think there's any really means necessary to have him out there if it's going to risk something. But for Jack Conklin, right? Like Jack Conklin, I want him out there. But at the same time, another thing, I don't think you need him to win. But at the same time, if this is something where the risk of injury, whatever, re-injury is low. Put him out there not only just to get him out there, but to protect Watson, right? Like, I'm not saying we need Jack Conklin out there, but God forbid something happens, I can't have that.
So the other news with the Browns, stadium stuff is abound again. Ryan and I might be homeless.
No.
We might have to leave. All the work that Cody put in painting the studio, and we might be out of here. So this started out from article Michelle Jarby of News 5, and then Mayor Bibb's office even put this out.
Should we get Jeff Epstein on the show?
So he's the mayor's chief of integrated development.
Does he have an island?
I don't. I'm sure this guy has. You want to know the other one that I was thinking about? There's a broadcaster for the Ravens. His name is Jerry Sandusky.
Oh, God.
And he spells it different than the other one.
I wonder if this guy went by Jeffrey, and then he's like, oh, I got to change it.
I got to change it to Jeff. You know, anyway. So he is the mayor's chief of integrated development, and they've done an interview, and they've released this, that they have done studies literally about where we are sitting right now at Burke Lakefront Airport. And to piece, I think this obviously is something that people always brought up. They always brought up, well, why don't you just move over to Burke? Here's my understanding, and Michelle talks about this in some of the article, and it's in the result, or the studies that were done. Here's where we're at with Burke. Okay, number one, yes, they don't have very many flights. I was actually shocked to see they do as many flights as they said. I think it was 40,000 they said. And it's all private. Dude, I came in this morning. There were a bunch of guys with their suitcases and I think golf bags. I should just weasel my way onto their flight.
Where do you think they're going?
I'm assuming to a golf course. I don't know where. Probably Florida, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But it's all private at this point. You know, you still have the medical, a lot of organ transplants. You know, when somebody has an organ transplant, they fly it to the city that they need. Like, that's anyway. They do this study about the economic impact that potentially could be had if they closed Burke. And they said it's not nearly as bad as we thought it would be. As far as the money brought in, there's a fee every time you land your plane or take off, like all that other kind of stuff. Then my biggest hang up was what people used to always tell me. There was federal grant money used to extend the runways here at Burke to serve as a backup to Hopkins. Now, what do we know about Hopkins? They're losing flights left and right, too. There's whole wings of concourses that aren't even used anymore, right? I never thought this was actually an attainable idea. And they're starting to maybe paint this picture that it's possible. Okay, I'm going to piece through some of this, which is a lot, okay? The city-owned airport spans 250 acres. 250 acres. Burke, which opened in 1947, is a money loser. It handles an average of 100 takeoffs or landings each day, according to federal data. Most of that traffic is private and medical flights. Activity at Burke peaked in the late 1990s at over 100,000 flights a year. Now it's just about 40. If the airport closes, Cuyahoga County would lose $9.6 million in annual economic activity, according to an estimate. But potential redevelopment could close that gap or actually maybe even turn the land into, imagine that, you need to make up $10 million a year. You would think a new stadium over here could do that. You would think even a park or whatever else they want to put there, which we'll get to that in a second, could eat that up. Then we talk about what it takes to close an airport, which is not easy to do. And Michelle writes, they looked into the legal and financial complexities of what it takes to close the airport. Number one, this is not a 2-year process. This is something that's going to take a lot of time to try to find out what they're going to exactly do to close it. Now, the other thing would be is if they go to Congress and ask them to pass something to expedite that process of speeding it up. Then they would also have to pay back the federal money that they used to build some of this kind of stuff up. And I saw some of that goes into like 2036. Seeking FAA approval and working closely with the agency is the longest process of 3 to 5 years of closing this. And the FAA would have to determine that shutting down Burke is an overall win for aviation, Okay? So if you're talking about they don't give a damn about the Browns, they don't give a damn about the city of Cleveland. The FAA cares about people who like to fly. Ryan, what do we see a lot out here this morning? People taking flying lessons and people flying out privately. There's no way that they would be able to circle that and say, well, that's a win for aviation. It's not, okay? They would also have to pay back $10 million in grants, which I thought that number was more. It's not all that bad. In addition to getting the FAA approval, the agency provided most of that money for studies and upgrades. The city's repayment obligations don't burn off until 2036 of them having to pay back some of that federal money. Then the final part from the city of Cleveland, they're making this out. This has nothing to do with the Browns. They go, we are interested in doing this. Mayor Bibb, on his campaign trail years ago, said he wanted to look into closing Burke. Mostly because I think they would like to have a park here, or they'd like to have something close to Chicago, or something where you're on the waterfront with hotels, with apartments, with shops, with restaurants, with all of that driving impact here in the city of Cleveland. Here comes somebody right now. That's a private jet. That's somebody who's really rich flying in right now. All of that's got to be factored in. But then how could you not tie that back to the Cleveland Browns? One of the biggest things on the forefront for Mayor Bibb right now is what are you going to do with the city? What are you going to do with the Browns, right? Here's the craziest thing we forget. They could somehow get the fast approval that they close Burke, open it up to the Browns, and they could still want to go to Brook Park. You could jump through all these hoops, and the Browns could still say, yeah, we still think Brook Park's better. Dude, you're facing the same thing. What would be north of the lake, Ryan? North of the lake. North of the stadium. That would be the lake.
Canada.
What is everybody really bothered about when you come to the stadium? Parking. You're landlocked. What else are you going to do? Aren't you opening the same thing up? Now, again, I'm assuming that the piece of property here could be much more expansive for parking, right? And much more expansive for everything else. And it's a win-win. It's all that I've ever asked for as far as what I want for the Browns. I want a new stadium downtown. And I assume that they looked at all these options. Don't you think the timing is interesting? That these results of these studies come out now? And it's not that we're hitting some drop dead date, but we are in the most contentious point at this juncture of going back and forth between Brook Park and downtown. So I think it's interesting that these studies now come out at this time to maybe at least open the door a little bit that Burke might actually be an option. Second two for Tuesday. If both options were, we know one is, we know Brook Park is. But if Burke was an option, if building a stadium on the property of Burke was an option, where would you rather have the stadium, Brook Park or Burke?
So this new stadium obviously has a dome, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you ain't building some without it. Which, again, I'm assuming it's going to work. I'm assuming they've looked at it and said that they can put this over. Because is this not also on like a landfill or something like that?
Ancient Indian burial ground?
Probably. That's probably why we're cursed. So in a letter to fans in early August, Dave Jenkins said the Browns already looked at Burke with the city and ruled it out, citing FAA restrictions, mostly as height limitations, as one of the barriers of putting a roof on the existing stadium. Why would that matter then? If there's no more flights coming in here, why would it matter about the height of the stadium? Do they not see all the tall buildings right over there? As long as you don't build a stadium higher than Terminal Tower, I think you're okay. I don't know.
Is Brook Park one word or two words? I think
It's
we've
one
had this
word.
No, I think it's two words. I think we've had this debate before.
I have only ever spelled Brook Park.
And I think you're usually wrong, which you would be. Okay.
I guess I am. I've only ever put in one word, but I guess it is two. That's fine. And also, talking about Jeff Epstein, not that one, the other one. He also said that they, again, are doing this independently of the Browns stadium situation, which again, it's like when it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a freaking duck. The Browns have got to be involved in this, at least from the city standpoint of opening this up as a potential. But this sounds like it's really going to be a lot of mountains that you got to move. You have to have the federal government get involved with this. You're going to have to go to Congress, potentially, to ask them to push something through to then what, Ryan? Just close the stadium. I'm sorry, close the airport. And then you're talking about $10 million a year that you're losing in the economic impact, the $10 million of federal grants. You're already in the hole, what, $40-50 million, and then you still got to build a $2 billion stadium. You still got to pave the parking lots. You still got to put the dome up. They might just want to go to Brook Park. I don't know. And then the other final part of this, are the Browns so entrenched of going to Brook Park, they don't even want to listen to other ideas. That could be a very real possibility. They don't even want to think about anything else. They are so ready to go down this path to go build that shiny new stadium down there in Brook Park. They're gone, man. They're done. And at that point, then what's even, again, the city will try to push that they'll, okay, let's play that for a second. If they then leave, you have a wide open space over there. Build your land bridge. Put your stuff over there. Like, why? Like, it's just, somebody's going to have to blink eventually. Are you willing, is the city of Cleveland willing to go down this whole path of trying to close Burke, even if the Browns leave and now you're wide open over there? You got a whole space over there you got to redevelop too. And the money, all of it, right? You're going to be paying out the wazoo for them to go to Brook Park if you're in Kyle. I know Kyle County already came out and said they don't want to give them any money. They want to keep them downtown. But, like, all that money going over there, then taxes for the redevelopment down here and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of a crap show. It really is. And show makes me just think of this real quick. You lose the air show. Mm-hmm. You close Burke, you'll never get the air show again. And they brought that up. They go, listen, we understand that people love coming down here.
But it's one weekend a year.
It's 4 days a week, or 4 days a year. 4 days a year that you get to use it for something that is that great. The race isn't here anymore. You're too young, Ryan, to remember the Cleveland Grand Prix when it was here. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
Don't know what that is.
Dude, it was so great. Indy cars. And then they had the whole weekend. They'd run, sports cars all weekend, too. It was awesome. It was so great. But that's the thing. They didn't find anything else to pick up the slack for Burke. This has got to be related to the Browns. There's no way that this came out when it did, when this study was done, to say that there's potential to not at least try to get something over to the Browns, right?
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to, I don't know.
I mean, it is PR battle, too. They're trying to look good in this whole situation to say, hey, we're doing everything we can to try to keep the Browns in downtown Cleveland. And it's like, I'm almost at the point, I think like a lot of people, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of it. And
it's just getting started.
That's the problem. It's just getting started, and I have no clear resolution at this point. Eventually we will. Eventually we're going to get the idea of what exactly they want to do. Is Burke strictly just a Hail Mary pass from the city to try to make this work? If it's not, then they're going to Brook Park. I wonder how the fans feel. I really wonder how the fans would feel, and that's why I want to do this question this morning. If all things were the same, where would you rather be? Where would be the rather place you be? New stadium at Burke or new stadium at Brook Park? And this is tough for me because we work at Burke. I'd rather be at Burke. I'd rather be downtown. That's what I want. That was my ultimate pie-in-the-sky idea. And that's going to be my vote very clearly on that.
Yeah, I mean, my whole stance was keeping the Browns downtown. But, Matt, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears at Burke Lakefront Airport.
I'm not saying that you didn't.
I've grinded many hours a night alone.
So don't you want to see it maybe die?
No. All go to waste?
I get it. It's a tough one. It's hard because we have spent a lot of time here. We love being at Burke right now. But if that's what's going to happen for the Browns to get a new stadium downtown,
I guess I just don't see the vision at Burke. Maybe I need another AI renderings video.
Well, no. Imagine the renderings of Brook Park here.
Right, but you can't just copy and paste.
Why not?
I don't think it works like that.
I can vision it. I would envision the stadium being about as north as you can get, and then just
you're talking all the way down that runway?
No, like as far close to the lake as we can get.
Right.
And then just a bunch of parking lots.
Maybe I'm misjudging how big Burke is.
It's a lot bigger. I'll tell you this, because we're at the terminal. It goes way further east than you think it does.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes way down there on the east.
If I come in from from
You get
the
off of
west- or
55th?
the east side. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it goes pretty far down there.
Bracknell.
Then,
Yeah.
what if you just built a tunnel over to Munilot?
What if we just built an
Or a
island?
sky bridge or a walk? You know what I mean?
Or an island, and we take boats to the game.
Well, that was an idea somebody had too. Just push it somewhere else. No, like,
What if we just build it in the sky?
the first ever floating one?
What if we build
Would
it
you want to go to a
underground?
floating stadium and just assume that it's not going to fall? I'm out.
I don't care.
I'm out. Not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. But then you build it over here. You keep Munilot and you just build bridges and skywalks, and people can just go right over too. That seems less impactful and then you still get that room over there to develop. City of Cleveland gets what they want. Everybody gets what they want. Browns stay downtown. They get a brand new dome stadium, and the City of Cleveland then gets that space at the old stadium to redevelop and do whatever they want to do. It seems like a win-win for an airport that, again, like, I was just so entrenched from people telling me that they were never going to close this. And if they at least did a study that opens that potential, that's more than I even thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but I read through all the articles. To me, it doesn't sound like it's going to close at all. Like
You have mountains you got to move.
Yeah.
You have a lot of things, but I'm just saying,
But if you're
the
talking
fact
about
that it's
the
not even shut, this study could have came out and said it's absolutely not even possible. They didn't say that.
Well, yeah, of course it's
hard. It's going to
possible,
be hard. I guess
but,
anything is possible.
But if the FAA, like so at first you have to go to the FFA, right? Or what, the FAA, what is it?
Correct, the FAA.
And then if they say no, then you can go to Congress to make a motion for it, correct?
Right. But, like, here's what I don't, okay, and I'm not in the FAA. Is Burke really all that important? I guess that's my, okay, again, we're here every day. I see planes taking off, okay? I know some sports teams land here. I know when SummerSlam was here, all the WWE planes came in here. Like, there are elements of things that you can't recreate elsewhere. Yes, they could go fly into Hopkins. Don't forget about, I think it's just Cleveland Airport right over in Richmond Heights, right? Airport Greens, great golf course, right next door to the golf course, or right next door to the airport. Like, there's out that. I don't know. Again, I don't have those answers. I'm not in these conversations on exactly what it would look like. I guess I'm a little surprised at this point that it's even a slim, and I will say slim, possibility. I really thought they were going to come out and say, can't even do it.
But I don't even think like it's a slim possibility, right? I
You're
mean,
writing it off.
I'm not necessarily writing it off, but I'm not using the logic of because this article came out, it all of a sudden makes something different, right? Like, these were still parameters that they would have to move through 20, 30 years ago, correct? Like,
right.
If they just wrote this article and said, yeah, of course it's a possibility, but what I read was is it FFA or FAA?
FAA, the Federal
FAA,
Aeronautics
why would it, right, because they don't care about the Browns.
Aviation or whatever.
They don't care about the Browns. They're not looking at this as anything having to do with the Browns. They don't want to benefit them. All they care about is
the city
aviation.
said, the FAA has been clear to us. They're not in the business of closing airports, but they have been closed before. Here's the write-up. Burke is what's known as a reliever airport. It takes pressure off Hopkins by picking up smaller flights and handling overflow traffic. It's also the beneficiary of federal grants, the money that the city would need to repay in a shutdown. If Cleveland closed Burke today, the city would have to pay back $10 million in grants in addition to getting the FAA approval. The agency provided most of the money for studies and upgrades. The city's repayment obligation, again, doesn't burn off till 2036. So Cleveland's second option is to wait more than a decade until the repayment window ends and avoid borrowing any more money. The city could shut things down by sending a 30-day closure notice to the FAA. So what it's saying is, because you took that federal money, you're on the hook for this. You either let the money run out, and then but like, at that point, cut them the check,
Yeah, it's only 10, like only 10 mil,
restructure
right?
the contract, which is what the Browns do all the time. Pay them their money, walk away. I know nothing of anything, okay? And if you listen to the show, you probably know that. What in the world does the FAA matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, I fly. We all fly. I'm not saying it's not an important endeavor. I'm not saying it's important to our country. What is the big stink about closing Burke? Seriously. It seems like it's one of those things that they need to pretend that they're as important as they seem to be. When in reality, you want to talk about Akron. Ryan, there are 4 airports within driving distance of Cleveland. Legit. And I'm even talking about Columbus. There are 4 airports. Akron, Hopkins, Burke, and the one out east in Richmond Heights. I think we can lose one. I think that's just fine. How's Akron? You tell me they can't handle some overflow over there? I've flown out of Akron twice in my life. Bro, it was more dead than Hopkins was. And I get that the flights out of Cleveland, them losing the United hub and all that other kind of stuff. Dude, what do I read too? Every time that Frontier or Spirit, hey, we're adding all these flights. Bro, they took them away for the winter. They took them away because nobody flies out of Cleveland anymore. And also, you can't get anywhere out of Cleveland. There's no more direct flights. You got to go somewhere to get out of here. I'm going to keep pushing this. And this is hard because, again, we're in Burke. We'll find a new place. We'll go back to Dave's Garage. And be a closer drive from here. Just go back to Dave's Garage. We'll figure it out. If there's even any possibility that the Browns could build a new stadium at Burke, I need them and the city to put every ounce of effort towards that. Push on the FAA, pay the money back, and do it. Because just even everything else, like, okay, $10 million, right? $10 million. Would they not get that back with the parking? If you kept Muni Lot, you're going to make that money back into the Haslams, right? They want to own the parking. Think about all the parking you can put in here. Think about all the other things. Okay, they want to build a complex and a hotel and all that. That seems like a giant hassle, doesn't it? Where if you told and again, I think it would lean better towards getting a Super Bowl and a Final Four and all the other things that people talk about getting with a dome stadium. Wouldn't you be better off if it was downtown as opposed to Brook Park? You know, I've been kind of anti on that where I'm like, okay, you might get a Super Bowl, you might get a Final Four. I think those odds go up if you are downtown Cleveland. That drive to the airport is not that bad. There are plenty of worse cities off that the airport is literally 45 minutes out of the way. You're 20 minutes from downtown off 71. I hope they explore this. I really do. I hope this is maybe a little bailout here for the Browns in the city of Cleveland. Whether it actually happens, don't know. We'll find out. All right, let's catch our first break of the morning. When we come back, we got the morning update. I've got NFL power rankings following week 2 and every team's most important backup position. We'll see where the Browns come in on that. I've also got head coaching rankings for the NBA. CBS Sports. I want to say this was Sam Quinn. He went through the tiers, not those tiers, the other tiers, of NBA head coaches. Tier 9. He broke this into 9 tiers of I wouldn't know, I wouldn't be enthused, you look promising, but it's early, and then the elites. Where did Kenny Atkinson come out and all that? So I'll tell you that. We'll get to that coming up. What are we going to do about the grid today?
You just want to not do it.
Why?
I mean, we can do it.
We'll do it, but do you think we've snafu'd the week?
We're at.
We've snafu'd the week.
Garbage.
It is what it is. We'll get to that. Folks, Austin Hedges, special guest last night on Big Play Cleveland Show. Go check that out on the app. I know Boom stopped by on Come Get Some. Hanford last night. Tonight, the return. Josh Maria Cribbs. Enter the Jungle. James Rapine and crew.
All right, tell me what you know about, listen, I'm young.
Yes.
I'm young.
That's
so
fine.
I have to advise to my elders. What do you know about Romeo Langford?
Like the former wide receiver?
For the Browns?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming on Josh's show today.
Okay, nice.
I wasn't familiar with his game.
I couldn't tell you much. Didn't he go, I want to say he went to Michigan State, did he? Oh, wait a minute. Talking about the basketball player?
Oh, wait, no, I totally messed up his name. Hold on. Romeo Langford is a basketball player.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who is it? Wait, hold on. What did I say?
I don't know.
What did I just say?
Romeo Langford, who's a basketball player.
Reggie Langhorne.
Oh, Reggie Lang. Oh, my God, Ryan.
That's up there with when who did I call like Marty Schottenheimer, Bo Schembechler? Romeo Langford. Reggie Langhorne. Sorry, bro. I'll see you in a little bit.
Reggie Langhorn is a Browns legend, okay? He's up there. I'm not saying that he's Paul Brown, Jim Brown, Ozzie Newsome, but yes, Reggie Langhorn.
Then you said, isn't that a wide receiver? So I was like, oh, it must have. Yeah, I'm right.
Honestly, I think that's maybe why I just thought you were talking about Reggie Langhorn. Yeah. Yes. He's yes.
Okay.
He's a Browns alumni legend. Okay. So he's coming on tonight.
Not Romeo.
Reggie Langhorn is coming on tonight. He's good. Reggie's a great guy. He's awesome. So that's tonight on the Big Play. I'm Josh Maria tonight. Enter the Jungle, James Rapine and crew. Folks, we're everywhere. Check out the new Big Play app, and you can go to us on Twitter. All you got to do is prove that you downloaded the app. You go over to Twitter, and you're entered for a chance to win a Myles Garrett jersey. I retweeted it yesterday. Go follow us at Big Play on Twitter, and you can be entered for a chance to win that Myles Garrett jersey. I got to text Padone. What are we doing about the tailgate?
I don't know.
Okay. I got to find that out. But we got our tailgates coming up. It's everywhere that you need to. Go check it out. Big Play on Twitter. You can always follow us on Instagram as well. Go check out bigplay.com for all of our merch. It's there. We got you rocking right here on Big Play. All right, let's catch a break. Plenty coming up in hour 2. Stay with us.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
That's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. You're listening to
And I think they got 11 last year because we were just riding the highs of Flacco fever and the crazy run that they went on in the second half of the season this year. I'm going to go with 10-7 as my Browns record prediction. I'll take a game away. I agree wholeheartedly with what Bruce said, that this division is brutal, and the Browns are going to have to take care of business early on in this season because they don't catch a divisional game until like week 7 or week 8. So you got to beat Dallas. You got to win some of these winnable games early, so that way you've got a little bit of a cushion in the AFC North when those games begin. I'll go 10-7 for the Browns this year.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
Welcome back, Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Yesterday, a record-breaking show for us, Ryan. That was an awesome show yesterday, so we appreciate everybody that joined us, sending back out. I was like sending the tweet back out. a little bit later in the show. Share the broadcast. We're back up on it. Boom, let's go. Got you here for hour 2. Plenty coming up. We got morning update. We'll figure the grid out. We'll get to the bracket. I've got head coach power rankings. I've got NFL power rankings. But first, Ryan's got all the stories. Take it away.
All right, how about those guards, man?
Guards!
Kyle Manzardo's late 8th inning heroics. He homers to right field. That scores 2. That puts the Guardians in the lead as they ultimately beat the Twins 4-3. Matt, that magic number is dwindling down. They can actually clinch their playoff berth coming this Wednesday.
Nice.
As soon as that.
Yeah, because again, magic numbers, if they lose and you win, big win. And again, Vogt getting emotional. I get emotional about it. I think that's a great sign of what this team is. They're together. They're playing for one another. And they know it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy when you go up against these $400 million lineups and stuff like that. But they find ways. They're scrappy. They got to play the way, and even yesterday, self-inflicted injuries or mistakes, I should say. You got to play a little bit of a perfect way, but you can still find your ways just on a couple of hits. I don't mean to be critical. I'm done with Daniel Schneemann, man. I can't. They pull him out.
Chill.
They pull out Rocchio to put him in there, and he just swings and I know you can't be perfect. I know he's a bench guy and a utility guy. I think they need to start carving out some at-bats for Angel Martinez. And I know they moved him out to center when you were really having some problems out there. Your outfield is set now. Isn't that crazy to see how set it is with Lane Thomas and John Canzino? You're set. You're good to go. We move Martinez back into the infield just as a rotational piece. And again, he's going to boot a ball, and I'm going to be bitching because I'm going to be upset because I'm like, man, he should just left him in the outfield. It's more bats for that guy. And that's gotten Vogt. I think another thing, in the feather cap of Stephen Vogt, I've liked a lot of the lineups, like a lot of the moves that he's making and kind of where we sit right now. I'm feeling really confident about the Guards. I love where they're at. I love how we're getting ready to go for the playoffs. And just at that point, you got to see how it goes.
Alrighty, well, Monday Night Football, Battle of the Birds. The Falcons, they get the best of the Eagles as they win 22-21. An ultimate choke job by the Eagles defense. Nick Sirianni is an idiot. I enjoy watching him lose football games. Kirko legacy drive. He throws a touchdown to Drake London with 34 seconds left. That seals the Eagles' fate. They both move to 1-1.
So here's the funny thing. When Sirianni threw it on 4th down, third down, right?
Yeah, Saquon dropped it.
And I was like, you idiot. It's the same thing that Kevin Stefanski did. It is. It's the same thing. So it's funny that I started the show, on the show yesterday, I was sitting there saying, no, and I like that call from Stefanski's. You pick up the first down and the game is over, and I just wanted Watson to go down and take the sack. And then I watched Nick Sirianni do it.
That's a little different.
And I go, man, that was stupid. Now Saquon catches it. He was wide the frick open.
But it just doesn't make
butt naked open, and he drops it.
It doesn't make sense because if you're Nick Sirianni, the first drive of the game, you go down there, it's 4th and 4, and you don't take the points. And then at that point, they had one timeout or whatever. All you have to do is, listen, you run the ball. Let's say Saquon gets you 2 yards. What do you have? You invented the tush push. You need 1 more yard. The game's over. It was
they were still going to kick the field goal. The problem is that the clock stopped.
If it was 4th and 1, and the Eagles, let's say Saquon ran that, or Saquon even caught the ball and got 2 yards, it'd be 4th and 1. You would just do the tush push and end the game.
I mean, probably, yeah. I guess I'm just thinking that he actually would have taken the field goal there, kicked off, and made him go all the way back down while burning more clock. You know what I mean? But the thing is that the biggest issue is that they stopped the clock. Now, the other thing, you can look at the Eagles and go, why were you playing prevent? I get it. They didn't want to let anybody behind him. That chunk throw to Drake London, and you go, well.
Saved my life, though.
Well, here we are. What a choke. You're right. Just what a choke job.
Yeah.
Absolutely by the Eagles. And obviously the Falcons couldn't start 0-2, but even the NFC's getting a little bit dicey now. It was a fun game to watch, but last night was a little bit of a microcosm, I think, of where we are a couple weeks into the season. Yeah, you got the Saints putting up a buttload of points and all that kind of stuff. Passing is down. Points are down. It's become dink and dunk offenses and a lot of running. And I think maybe that helps the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. But through a couple of weeks, Ryan, it's not been juggernaut offenses taken over here by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it hasn't. But I gotta play you this. This is Nick Sirianni's explanation of his decision.
He's gonna get his ass fired.
Now, have you seen this clip?
No.
No? Okay. So before I play it,
Okay.
I thought I was having a stroke.
Okay.
Okay? Tell me if what he says makes any sense to you.
I'm going to listen intently here.
Or if I'm just crazy.
Okay.
In that scenario, I was thinking they might not have any timeouts there, but obviously they did with the incomplete pass. That would have came down to maybe a minute, and so we wanted to go up 6 points, and it didn't work. So, the decision to pass it there, again, like I said, where they were junking it up inside, with it being 4th and 3 to go for it, I thought, with them not having any timeouts, I wanted them to be down a touchdown and see if they could drive the field, and they did. Hats off to them. In that scenario,
am I crazy?
No, it's like, okay,
they might
so he
not have
starts
any
here by
timeouts
saying,
there, but obviously
I didn't
they did
think they had any timeouts. What do you mean
with
you
the incomplete
think?
pass.
There's a
That's what I
giant
said. That's what I
scoreboard that
said.
tells you whether or not they have.
And then the part we're talking about, they're junking it up.
And so we wanted to go up
talking
6
about
points,
just
and
running it
didn't work.
wouldn't have got
So, the decision to pass it there, again, like I said, where they were junking it up inside, with it being 4th and 3 to go for it, I thought,
it wasn't 4th and 3.
with them not having any timeouts, I wanted them to be down a touchdown and see if they could drive the field. And
He
they
didn't have any.
That's
What he's
awesome.
doing there, and what you're
yes,
talking
that
about,
scenario,
he does not
We're
actually
jumbling
have a
because
good
he knows
answer.
he made a mistake.
Right. So again, he's misremembering, I think, what he's talking about in 3rd versus 4th down. He kept thinking it was 4th down. It wasn't. What he's trying to say is, I was throwing that ball there to try to pick up a 1st down, or better yet, probably have Saquon Barkley score a touchdown. I think that's where he's getting his words twisted. He thought that play was going to result in a touchdown for Saquon Barkley, which it might have been.
What I have an issue with is that was clearly mismanagement by Nick Sirianni. In no way, shape, or form should they have lost that game. So now you're coming out in your press conference and you're saying hats off to the Falcons? No. That's not how, that was a clearly horrible execution late by Nick Sirianni.
No.
And if I'm an Eagles fan, I would want him out of here by tomorrow.
Well, that's when you factor in passing up the points earlier. You know, the other thing about Nick Sirianni, which I thought was interesting, late, I think even on that drive, and they had to call a timeout, if I'm remembering this correctly, and they panned to Sirianni, and he's losing his mind. He's screaming at Jalen Hurts, and he pulls his headset off, and he's acting all pissed off. And I go, what are you freaking out about, man? Maybe you need to put your guys in a better situation. Sirianni knows what you know, what I know. This will be his final year, if he even makes it that far, of coaching the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, dude, he's so bad.
And it's whether or not he's just in a, I'm
such a just annoying man.
He kind of seems that.
Because there's one thing of showing emotion on the sideline and you're getting into the game and you're fighting for your guys, but there's a fine line between doing that and looking like an idiot and acting like a child.
Dude, Vic Fangio is their defensive coordinator. Kellen Moore is their offensive coordinator. There's guys ready to take over that job, especially if you just gave it to Fangio. He mismanaged it. The hard thing with coaches is when you just straight up say, I screwed that up, right? Coaches have a hard time admitting that because then it makes them look bad. In reality, I get what Nick Sirianni was trying to do. He's trying to do the same thing Kevin Stefanski was doing, and I defended Stefanski yesterday, and I think Nick Sirianni looks like an idiot today. It's a little bit different, right? But what he's saying is we tried to go for the jugular and score a touchdown and go up by... and again, by going up by a touchdown, what he was talking about was kicking a field goal.
It didn't make sense because Saquon has been your whole game plan this entire game, and he's averaging at that point, 6-7 yards a carry it was. You run it, and I understand it.
Well,
you're
then you're
probably
running
going to
the
get worst
clock,
case scenario,
too.
2 yards.
Right.
You're running the clock, exactly, and then 2, even if you're on that, you're burning 40 seconds, and you push it, the game's over.
I guess. Yeah, and... with the Eagles being a team that you expect to be near the NFC Championship and maybe even the Super Bowl, how much longer are they going to put up on this, especially when you have all that other stuff from last
offense
year
bad?
and this carryover? They were without A.J. Brown last night. Hurts was, anytime an offense struggles, I'm going to look at your quarterback. Jalen Hurts doesn't look like the same guy I did 2 years ago.
He was fine. He had a 97 rating yesterday.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They don't throw to Goddard anymore.
100 yards.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of paralysis with Saquon Barkley, too, which, again, it's hard to say that because he's that good, and he was ripping off runs left and right.
They couldn't get to Kirk, is what it was. The second half, they could not get to Kirk.
They started sending 5 and 6 guys and still couldn't do it. Why they didn't want to do that they tried it on the last drive. He just kept picking them apart. It was a bad game. That was a bad loss. Sirianni's going to have to own that, and I would very much imagine that they're having a lot of conversations there in Philly about his job.
Alrighty, well, lastly for the morning update, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales, has announced that Bryce Young is getting benched for Andy Dalton. Bryce Young, just 23, becomes the first quarterback selected #1 in the common draft era to be benched for non-injury reasons in his second season.
That is, I need to kind of save my job. Not save a job. He just got there. And there were people that said that Canales is now on the clock. Well, you're going to find out, were your problems actually Bryce Young, or do you have a lot of systemic problems on your offense? Can you not block? Is Adam Thielen cooked? I don't know. You'll find out when you put Andy Dalton in there. Now, the thing about Bryce Young is, where do you go from here? You have 2 options. You chalk it up and say, this guy is trash and he's not going to be it, or we're eventually going to bring him back and, you can try to learn while you're sitting out and all that. I think he's trash.
They messed up by starting him.
Well, then the question becomes, because somebody talked about this, is he going to go down as one of the biggest busts in NFL history?
Of course he is.
Part of that reason is not just because he was the #1 overall pick, it's because C.J. Stroud went right after him, and C.J. Stroud seems to be on his way of dominating some football for the next 15 years. After that, here's a great quote. Here's a little, okay.
Yeah,
Bryce Young went 1, C.J. Stroud went 2. Remember who went 4?
So this was 2 years ago.
2023.
Well, right.
Yeah.
If you tell me the team, I'll get it.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Wait, so is... Yeah, if I probably can't remember if I don't get the team.
You're a big fan of this team. I'm shocked you don't know this.
This was 4?
Yeah.
And obviously not this last
second year.
season.
These guys are all in their second year.
My memory's horrible. What?
You love this team to win their division.
The Colts?
Yeah. Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson.
I forgot.
So, again, if you're going to put that label on Bryce Young, part of that is what happens with C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. Then the next quarterback was in the second round. That was Will Levis. Take that or leave it for what it's worth. But you know what I'm saying? To have that label as a bust. If you go #1 in just a bad draft, then it's not so bad. Bro, there were 2 quarterbacks right behind you that looked to be ascending, and I was screaming it the day that it was
also what you gave up to go get him.
Sure, that's 100% correct, and Chicago's sitting there laughing because, again, they got Caleb Williams. Factor that on in, too. Again, it's all relative on how it goes. I've said that 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,001 times. I wouldn't have drafted him, and I don't like him. He's too short, man. You can tell me all you want about Drew Brees or even Baker or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't like him when they drafted him, and very clearly it's playing out that this guy is not going to be anything, which sucks. I don't like doing that. Bryce Young's probably not in a good place right now.
No, he's crying. There was a video of him crying.
I would be too.
On the field.
I would be too.
I would hate, dude. That's probably one of, if not top 5 right now, worst organizations in sports.
He's
not just the NFL.
Yeah. I hate to tell you, man, I don't see anything there. When you look at quarterbacks that come out, you gravitate towards something, right? Josh Allen, he had the big arm, man. Some guys can move. Some guys can do this. You got to have some. And I just never got the sense that I got something out of Bryce Young that I go, that guy can be elite. What is the thing that he does that is so damn good? Then, if you really want to factor in, too, how do you think Tua's situation is going to impact the rest of the NFL when they evaluate smaller quarterbacks? Let's call it for what it is. I don't like that Tua is hurt. That sucks. That's a bad situation. Part of the reason, in my opinion, that he gets so hurt is because he is smaller. It's just he's getting slammed by guys that are 60 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller than him.
Are you crapping on short kings?
You can't play quarterback. Don't be a jockey. I don't know. There's just, you're not.
Wow.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
Don't be a quarterback in the NFL.
That was crazy.
What?
A jockey.
jockeys are really small.
Yeah, like he's 5'1".
I'm not saying in the NFL terms, Ryan, he is.
That was crazy.
In the NFL terms, Bryce Young is about
Bryce
5
Young
foot
to be a
nothing.
jockey. Oh, that's crazy. That's
I'm
hilarious.
sorry. He's
That
done.
is crazy.
I would have taken him off my draft board the second I got his official height from the NFL Combine.
Crazy.
Do you want to know what he was at the Combine? And we know those things, dude. You know about the NFL Combine. You know about the inversion tables?
No.
You never been on an inversion table?
Oh, like the
It turns you back. It just stretches your back. It's supposed to decompress your spine.
Sure, I need that.
That helps you gain sometimes an inch. With all of that, he still was only 5'10" and an eighth.
Hey, bro.
That means he probably plays more at 5'9.5". No. Absolutely.
What's the average height of a jockey? 5'2".
I'm assuming something like that.
Hey, peep this shirt.
What, your shirt? Is that a Manzardo shirt?
Yeah, Cody made it.
Cody, I want it.
Cody made it.
XL, right now.
Manzardo the Gardo. That's pretty sick.
He just placed an order for me, too. I hope I don't know if
It's like the Guardian with the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet.
Check that out, bigplay.com. The average jockey height, 5'2".
That's what I said.
5'2". Bryce Young, sorry, man.
He'd be a giant amongst boys if he was a jockey.
Then go do that. Because I don't think he can play NFL quarterback anymore. That's
crazy. I can't believe you just told him to be a jockey.
I just... It's a big boy game.
Crazy.
It's a big boy.
Crazy.
And I know he played at Alabama, and I know he had all... What in the world were the Panthers thinking?
Well, when you have David Tepper breathing down your neck.
But like, I would seriously sit there. If I was the GM, and is it Scott Fitterer? I don't know if he got fired, if he's still there. He's going to get fired if he's... Whatever. And I sat down. You play David Tepper. I'll play Scott Fitterer.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell me you want to draft Bryce Young.
I want the small guy to be my quarterback.
I'm going to pull up a picture of him standing next to C.J. Stroud. And I'm just going to go, just put that in your memory. Okay. Just keep that in your memory bank. He plays bigger than he is. Just look at that picture. Okay? Just look at that picture. I'm going to, you know what?
I think he should print out or record the video of you saying he needs to be a jockey and use that as bulletin board material.
I guess I'm trying to look for a side-by-side picture of C.J. Stroud to Bryce Young. The only one that I have is actually Stroud, Richardson, and Bryce Young all standing in a row at the Combine.
Stop.
And he doesn't look all that short, to be honest with you.
He's wearing platform.
Then I got a picture of them. Here's the one. Bro, there's a picture of them after the game, Stroud and Bryce Young, maybe preseason, I don't know. Stroud is looking at his mouth.
I'm sure he is. He's short.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that should have just, at that point, be done with it. Be done with it. And then if you want to factor in that he also was playing at Alabama, which is guys that were just better than everybody else in most of the games that they played, what a mistake. Not my problem. Not my problem. That's their problem. But what a mistake. And I don't know if there's anything coming back from that. What are you going to do with him? Going to Trey Lance him? Hope somebody wants him? Try to trade him away for a 4th-round draft pick or something? Who wants him?
Dolphins.
I almost sent a tweet to the Dolphins just go get Matt Stafford. But do you know that money? Oh, God. That'd be a lot of money.
It would be a lot of money.
And I know Tua, and I want to make that clear too. I think the right message is getting out there for just everybody that came out and was like, "Oh, Tua needs to retire." He's a grown man that will make the best decision for him. Okay, he doesn't need me. He doesn't need any of the pundits out there, any of the national people telling him what to do. That's his business between him and his doctors and the team. And I wish him nothing but the best. That all aside, Miami, if he does retire, which I don't think he is. It sounds like he's going to keep playing. They should probably go get Matt Stafford. They signed Snoop Huntley. They're in a lot of trouble down there in Miami. They're in a lot of trouble. They got the Diddy charges, by the way. Did you see that?
No.
They were supposed to arrest him today, but they arrested him yesterday. His indictment is on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. The indictment references what was seized during the raids at Diddy's home in Beverly Hills in Miami. Various freak-off party supplies, narcotics, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, firearms including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers and drum magazines. Like clips for the guns.
Yes.
Dude. Joy prison.
Should we...
He ain't getting out anytime soon.
That's
how you going. We are in jail with the grid, I'll tell you that. Do you want to do it? Where are we at, man? What do you want to do?
No, it's Washington again, dude.
Well, that's practice.
All right,
So,
let's get this over with.
unfortunately, I think this week's got to
Let's get
be
it over.
Friday.
Let's get it over. First team AP All-Pro, Aaron Donald. Go. First team All-Pro Cardinals. I mean, who do you want to do?
I mean, they
Larry
have to make
Fitz?
it with that team, do they not?
It's got to be Fitz, right? There's no way he wasn't 1 year first team All-Pro.
I
right?
also thought about Patrick Peterson, but I don't think he did it there. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald's fine.
He had to have gotten it once, right?
I'm assuming so. Okay. J.J. Watt. All right, all of this is lining up for Colt McCoy because McCoy works for the Cardinals and the Giants and Washington.
Let's do Washington.
But again, let's see if we can come up with another player for either of the other two.
Well, you're right, because let's do it here. Colt McCoy.
Okay. So you obviously have one for Washington.
Yeah, I'm about to pull something mean.
All right.
My ball, Zach Ertz.
Good pull. Good pull. Then
Washington, LA. No. Damn it. No.
What?
I was going to say Chase Young. He went to 49ers.
Correct. Yeah. Oh. Where's he now?
Did Josh Norman play for the Rams? Or no?
I don't think so.
Making that up.
That's a good pull. D'Angelo Hall didn't, I don't think. Fitzpatrick works Washington and Houston, does he not? Did he play in Houston?
I think so.
I think so. All right, Rip Fitzpatrick down there.
Did he? Or did he not?
I think he did.
Oh, well, we're trash anyway.
Yeah, we're trash. 70%. Yeah.
Giants, Texans, that's talking to me.
Is that not... No,
Devin
not
Singletary?
Matt Breida.
They're not Devin Singletary?
Yeah. Yeah. Because now he played. You're right. Devin Singletary. Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Okay.
Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham Jr. Why can't we get these when we really do it now?
Washington, LA. It's always Washington. Literally always Washington.
Wait, doesn't he work now, Bobby Wagner?
Yeah. Look at you. Look at you. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Carson Wentz.
When did Kurt Warner play for the Giants? That didn't happen. That's a Mandela effect.
I think that was early in his career because he was with the Giants. They sent him over to NFL Europe, and then he came back.
No,
so that was early in his career.
No, that's Mandela effect.
Just knowing the weak is fried. Let's get over to our power rankings. Here we go. Oh, I don't want to do this too. All the winless teams so far, we're going to rank them 1 through 9 from Bill Barnwell, which I like very much. But let's get to it. NFL Power Rankings, ESPN, and the most important position backup-wise for every single team. So let's start.
Music on.
What's that? Let's get the music on. I like number 1 team in the NFL. Right.
Well, I could make an argument for other teams to be fair, but I won't. The Kansas City Chiefs.
That is correct. They stay at number 1. Number 2, one of the biggest risers of the week, going from 8 to 2.
8 to 2. Interesting. Okay, is it the Texans?
No.
Okay, is it the Buccaneers?
No.
Okay, is it the... What other teams are 2-0 in here? Let's see. It's definitely not the Steelers.
No.
AFC, the Chargers can't be that high.
Nope. Missing a glaring one.
2-0. Am I?
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills.
That is correct. Number 2. Number 3.
That's my MVP.
Number 3.
Yeah, I said them yet.
No.
Okay, 2-0 teams. Vikings can't be that high. Don't buy it yet.
It's not a 2-0 team.
It's not a 2-0 team. Are they still saying the 49ers?
It is. They dropped from 2 to 3. Number 4, Houston. Number 5, Detroit. What?
Buccaneers are better than them.
Number 6, Philly.
Cap.
Number 7.
This list is updated this morning?
Yeah.
And
Number
and he still has
7,
Philly at 6.
Tampa.
Oh, he's smoking crack.
Number 8, the Chargers, up from 17 to
But
8.
here's the thing that's valid. Do you see Joe Alt-Delete again?
I know.
Did you see the stat about Jadeveon Clowney? He held him to his worst grade of his whole career.
I think Clowney's a wash, but okay, fine.
Joe Alt-Delete.
Number 9, New Orleans Saints. Number 10, Seattle. Number 11, Minnesota. Number 12, Pittsburgh. Number 13, Baltimore Ravens. They fall from 4 to 13 this week. Number 14, Dallas. Number 15, Green Bay. Number 16, the Jets. Dolphins are 17. The Bengals are 18. Arizona 19. The Rams are 20. The Raiders are 21. And finally at number 22 are the Cleveland Browns. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 0-2 teams ahead of us.
Let him keep sleeping. Let him slumber.
Fine. I think we're better than that. Are we better than the Rams? I think we are now.
Yes, right now, yes.
Are we better than the Cardinals? Same boat, right?
I mean, right now I'd say Cardinals.
Are you better than the Dolphins?
Well, that's not me saying we couldn't beat them.
Better than the Jets, the
better
Packers?
Than the Dolphins, right now, yes.
Okay, so there we go. So the most important backup role for the Cleveland Browns, Jameis Winston. Friend of show, employee of Big Play.
Family
is what Jameis is. Daniel Oifusi. Excuse me. In 2023, the Browns lost Deshaun Watson to season-ending injury. Joe Flacco came in, all that. Watson has often been injured since arriving in Cleveland, missing 11 games due to injury, but he's also struggled. In Winston, the Browns have one of the most experienced backups. Should Watson go down or need to be benched, a 10-year veteran, Winston has started 80 games and thrown 141 touchdowns in his career. I would agree with one of the more important backup roles there for the situation. Now we flip over to Bill Barnwell.
Yep.
There are 9 teams that are 0-2. Yep. We will rank them from best to worst.
Yep.
Who is the best 0-2 football team?
Best 0.
Do you want me to run through them alphabetically? So you have them?
I want to see if I can remember.
Okay.
Best 0-2 team.
The Colts. No. At least according to Bill.
Well, I forgot. The Bengals.
Bengals are the best to him. They still have a 43% chance to make the playoffs. Number 2.
It's not the Colts.
No.
Wow.
You're missing one other glaring 0-2 team. And I'm really happy it was 0-2.
Oh, Baltimore.
Baltimore's 2. Number 3.
Is that not the Colts?
It's not.
I'm going to freak out. The Jaguars.
Jaguars are correct. Number 4.
Is that the Colts?
No.
I'm done. What other teams are 0-2? I mean, it's not the Rams. Is it the Rams?
The Rams are 4.
See, right now the Colts are better than the Rams because of injuries.
I know. Number 5.
Is that the Colts? Bro, Bill is on some shit.
Tennessee is 5.
It. Stop
Colts
that.
are 6.
Stop that. This list is invalid.
7 is Denver.
8's
and
the Giants,
8 is the New York Giants. And then, of course, 9 is Carolina.
Bill's
now,
on
I want to bail Bill out here.
No.
Because oh no, he did not. I thought he was ranking it on the chances to make the postseason. He didn't. Because the Titans only have an 11% chance of making the playoffs, while the Colts still have a 22% chance. He thinks the Colts are worse than the Titans and the Rams.
It's ludicrous.
I agree. Yes, I very much disagree with that. Who's better right now, Baltimore or Cincinnati? I
Baltimore.
unequivocally
Stop it,
think it
Baltimore.
is Cincinnati.
No, Baltimore.
You think Baltimore's better than Cincinnati right now?
I think they're both 0-2. Right?
I guess am I smoking a little bit on this Jamar Chase thing? Like you're right.
I'm not even really factoring that in. The Ravens, I don't know what the hell they're doing. If their defense is truly that worse off without Patrick Queen and Mike McDonald, then we might have an issue, but I'm not calling it that yet. I think they'll get it together. You need to just run the ball more. They're going away from their identity, but if Justin Tucker's washed, I mean, that's one thing. But listen, it's still a 2-time MVP in Lamar. Like, I'm taking him over Joe Burrow, and I think they have more talent around them. The offensive line, that's the big issue, right? If their offensive line is truly that worse off than they are last year, which was their big concern,
right,
then you're going to struggle running the ball. But I still have more faith in the Ravens than I do the Bengals.
I don't know if I can join you on that. I don't know. I mean, I think it's... I will tell you that I don't think Baltimore is set up for a lot of success. How do you they just have never, like Zay Flowers is fine. They don't have a receiver there. Mark Andrews seems cooked. They had to throw to Isaiah Likely the whole freaking time.
But they've never had a receiver there.
I know, but eventually I think that's got to go belly up, does it not? You can only ask Lamar to do so much.
If the O-line's cooked, then yeah, maybe.
I guess. I mean,
what instills confidence in me in the Bengals right now? You would say they almost beat the Chiefs. Okay, they always.
I think Joe Burrow is close to breaking out here. I think he's back.
Now you're on the Joe Shiesty chain.
Kind of a little bit, yeah. I think he's back. And again, I think the Lamar, Jamar, I can't just set that aside. I think there's something there, and something's bleeding with them. I don't like that, but I think Burrow's coming back. I think he's back on that train a little bit. We'll see. All right, final thing before we catch our final break, we'll get to timeout. We'll get to the brat. We got to spend time with some of the brat. We might not even be able to break.
That's fine.
Let's do this. You want to do the coaching rankings in NBA real quick because we teased it? All right, so CBS Sports, Sam Quinn ran through all 30 head coaches in the NBA and tiered them out. 9 different tiers as far as the best, middle of the road, things like that. Tier 1 only had one guy in it. And Sam wrote the undisputed king.
Yeah.
NBA coach right now. Who is it?
I mean, you already know my answer. I'm pretty sure I've been pretty vocal that I think hands down the best coach in the NBA is Eric Spoelstra.
And that would be what Sam says. Number 1, he's in a tier of his own.
This guy knows ball.
Number 2, the elite coaches in the NBA. There's 4.
To be fair, I mean, maybe not elite, but I could see slipping in there Ty Lue.
Ty Lue is in there.
Yeah, I could see him. I mean, you're going to go Joe Mazzulla, I assume, even though.
No.
I agree with that. I don't think.
I agree. I think that's more team than Joe.
Mike Malone.
No?
Really?
No, I'm a big Mike Malone guy, too.
Okay. Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
you got to be in there. How could he not be?
By the way, Ty Lue's 5, Steve Kerr is 4, so you're missing 2 and 3.
Were there any rookie coaches last year that broke into the elite?
No. These guys are long-standing veteran coaches.
Okay.
These guys.
Okay.
Which is interesting at 2, because 2 was also a guy that I think is criminally underrated as an NBA head coach.
Really?
Yeah, big believer in this guy.
A lot of recent success?
Within the last 5 years, yes. Maybe not so much the last couple of years. I think he's in a really bad situation, but.
Fair enough. I mean, well, okay, let's get this out of the way. Is Greg still on there?
No, he's not in the tier 2.
Fair enough.
I don't think, I think it's kind of over for Bob,
Yeah. Nick Nurse?
Nick Nurse is 2. That's my guy. I think Nick Nurse is I don't think he was ever going to come to Cleveland, but I wouldn't give to have Nick Nurse here.
Yeah.
Number 3, I don't know if you get Rick Carlisle, Pacers.
All right.
So again, that's the top 5. That's the elites. Next up, tier 3, the wonder kinds.
I mean, that's got to be your Chris Finch's.
That's Will Hardy with the Jazz and Mark Dagnall of the Thunder.
Yeah.
So that's tier, what did I say, 4. Here's tier 4. The floor raisers. These are guys that are maybe a little bit younger.
Hell, put JB in there.
Mike Brown, Chris Finch, Joe Mazzulla, Tom Thibodeau at 10, Mike Budenholzer, and Ime Udoka at 8. So these are guys that help elevate your team a little bit. Tier 5 in his own, the living legend, Greg Popovich. Tier 6, middle of the road coaches.
Sure.
Jason Kidd, Taylor Jenkins of the Grizzlies, Quinn Snyder of the Hawks, and Michael Malone of the Nuggets.
It's a little low.
There's some drama there with him out there in Denver, though. We'll see. Tier 7, you look promising, but it's too early to tell. This is 19, 20, and 21. Jamal Mosley of the Magic, Willie Green of the Pelicans, and Kenny Atkinson of the Cavs. Here's Sam's write-up. Kenny Atkinson was great at leading a team with no expectations. The Nets did all the procedural stuff right, took good shots, designed pick and rolls, and set up players while defending hard. Then Kenny Atkinson got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and he was gone before they played a game together. Does Atkinson still need to prove he can manage a locker room? We'll find that out on a Cleveland team that expects to win right away as we learn the reports surrounding the drama with JB Bickerstaff. So it sounds like they're talking more the locker room than the play. But, like, I don't know, man. I thought the locker room thing was pretty good. Like, you know, Jared Allen knows him. Karis LeVert knows him. I think getting Johnny Bryant here, too, as Donovan Mitchell's guy, I think helps a lot. I'm not overly concerned. So 21. Would you say that's fair for Kenny Atkinson going into this season? 21 on this ranking? I think that's
fair.
All right.
I mean, you don't have a much leg to stand on, really. You have your sample size with the Nets, and did he do good? Yes, but as whoever wrote this article, I forget.
Sam Quinn
said, right? He was a good coach when your team didn't have expectations. Now you're going to a Cavaliers team that, like you said, you expect to win now. That is a big difference.
Tier 8. I would not be enthused of having these head coaches if you're Sam Quinn. Doc Rivers, Billy Donovan, Chauncey Billups, and JB Bickerstaff. A little shot there.
Yeah.
And then the final tier, we don't know about these guys. JJ Redick, Brian Keefe, Charles Lee, Jordy Fernandez, and Darko Rakovic, who just got the Raptors. We have no idea about those guys. So would you say of the established coaches, the 4 worst in the league are Billups, Billy Donovan, JB, and Doc Rivers? That's what Sam thinks.
I guess.
Probably. I thought that was all right for where Kenny Atkinson was at. So we'll take it for what it is. Speaking of taking for what it is, jump to a little bit of time up. All right, we head on back here on the 17th of September. A lot to get to and quite a few movies and TVs for you to guess on. Let's get to it. Number 1, we start just a year ago today. Do you remember the Mike Babcock Blue Jackets coach debacle?
You've told me about this.
He resigned 1 year ago
he
today.
Went through someone's phone or something?
He got hired July 1st. He resigned on September 17th. He didn't even make it 3 months. Here's what happened. He was brought in as the coach, and Babcock had all these things about that. He was crazy, and he was a loon, and whatever. He allegedly went through Boone Jenner, the center, said, hand me your phone, went through it. Now, Boone came out and was like, no, man, we were just talking family, and I was showing him pictures. And then it came out like, no, he was like going through his phone to try to find out what kind of guy he was. Investigation, sent it off, and now the Jackets, they had to fire him. They had some lame duck coach last year. This year's going to be so hard for the Jackets, man. It's going to be a tough one this year, but we'll see. We go back Thursday Night Football. I think I remember this one as a big one. This day, 2020, the Browns beat the Bengals 35-30 on Thursday Night Football. It was our first win of the season. I'm going to pull you up the stats on this one. Joe Burrow, 316 and 3 touchdowns. Baker had 2 touchdowns and a pick. Nick Chubb, $124 and 2 scores. Kareem Hunt had a touchdown. Odell Beckham, 4 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Now, I bring that up. Was that not... When did Joe tear his ACL?
Is that not Joe's rookie year?
Yeah, wasn't it that game? No, it wasn't that. So Burrow threw his first career touchdown. The Bengals lost 35-30, but he attempted 61 passes in that game, completing 37 of them, which broke an NFL record for the most completions by a rookie quarterback in a single game. He got hurt week 11. He was hit while throwing a pass and tore his ACL. I don't know why I thought Burrow got hurt against us. He got hurt against Washington. I don't know why. I thought there was a game that he got hurt against us. I don't know, whatever. We beat him Thursday Night Football this day, 2020. This day, 2017, Browns fought to the Ravens 24-10. Obviously, we know what happened 2017. But the important note from that game, Joe Thomas played his 10,000th career snap in that game this day, 2017. This day, 2004, Barry Bonds hit his 700th home run on his way to that record. I hope Judge passes him. I really do. This day, 1998, Manny Ramirez set an AL record with his 6th home run over a 3-game span. Indians beat the Twins 9-1. This day, 1967, the New Orleans Saints played their first ever game. They lose to the Rams, 27-13. This day, 1787, the U.S. Constitution was signed. Very important document. Very happy birthday goes out to the legend, Mr. Phil Jackson. 8-time champion in NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson. Alex Ovechkin, Jose Ramirez, Patrick Mahomes, 2 GOATs on the same day. Austin Matthews, the late great Mr. John Ritter, Hank Williams Sr., all celebrating birthdays today. All right, 5 for you today.
Let's do it.
On the movies and television shows. All right, we start with one, a television show that debuted this day, 2001. This is a thriller series and a South Korean dystopian survival type of show. I know there's memes. I've never seen it, but I know there's a lot of memes that came out from this.
2001, a South
No,
Korea.
2021.
Oh.
21.
Oh. Squid Game.
Squid Game is correct.
Yeah, great show.
Series revolves
You ever
around
watch it?
a secret contest of 460 or 56 players.
You said you've never watched it?
No, I've never seen it. They're all in
man.
deep financial hardship
Dude.
and risk their lives to play a series of
Dude.
deadly children's
Yeah,
games for the
season 2 is
chance to
supposed
win
be
$1
coming
billion
out soon.
prize.
Dude, you gotta watch.
Is it really?
It's so.
So what do
damn
they do? They like
good.
play chess?
So picture this, right?
Okay.
They get a bunch of people that are in poverty and in life-ruining debt. They give them an opportunity to come to this, what they say, yeah, you're playing these games, and
If you lose, you die?
If you lose, you die. And the
Okay.
first one was like a red light, green light.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I didn't know really spoiler, but if you turn around when it's red light, you get shot and killed.
Okay.
Now, they didn't know that this was a game where people died. But then they give them a chance after that first game and people survive. They give them the chance. They say, listen, if the majority wants, you guys, or whoever wants to leave can leave. But now you know the stakes if you want to stay, and most people end up voting to stay. And then it goes on. It's a good-ass show.
Isn't there a Black Mirror episode about that? That's probably what led to this,
spawned
maybe.
it.
I don't know.
It's so good.
All right, to the movie side of things, this day 2010, a movie that I give you crap for never seeing. And I
2010?
think you might have seen it. Did you say you not watched this? I don't know.
In 2010?
Bank robbery
Yeah,
film.
The Town?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yo, come on. The Town. So good. This day 2010. All right, back to the TV show side of things. 2009, an animated sitcom that I think is still on the air. Following the exploits of a bumbling, volatile secret agent and his dysfunctional...
Archer.
That is correct. I thought he was a lawyer or something.
No,
he's
he's
a
a spy.
secret agent. Archer is correct. All right, next up, I put this in because it's a sports movie.
Okay.
1999, a sports drama film following the novel of the same name, starring Kevin Costner. It follows the perfect game performance of an aging star baseball pitcher as he deals with the pressures of pitching in Yankee Stadium in his final outing by calming himself with memories of a long-term relationship.
No idea.
For the love of the game.
Never heard of it.
I haven't seen it yet, but for the love of the game. Final one, this day, 1972, a television show. I mean, if I just said 1972 television show, I think there might be a chance you could get it.
MASH?
That is correct.
Wow, look at me.
MASH. This day in history. All right, we got to get to our bets for the Guardians. Let's figure this damn bracket out, though, first. So we are doing in honor of the late, great Mr. James Earl Jones, the best movie villain of all time. Now, you won't let
Correct.
slashers into
No, I don't
this.
think that's a different category. I think that is a different bracket.
Okay, so what do you got so far? The
Joke-
Joker, Hans Gruber, Mr. Hero. I'm just kidding. That's our last one.
And Darth Vader, Thanos,
That's a number one.
Anton
seed.
Sugar.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm on empire.com. 2022.
Okay.
Greatest villains. I'm just going to rip them through, and if you want to put them in, great.
Okay.
Number 20, Michael Myers.
No.
Number 19, the T-1000 from Terminator 2.
If we need it.
Okay. Freddy Krueger.
Wait, start from the top because I want to do the seeds.
Okay, fine. You're not going to take any of these guys, though, I don't think. All right, number 1, Darth Vader. Good. Number 2, the Joker. Number 3, Loki. I think you have that, do you
No,
not?
I'm not doing Loki.
Okay. Number 4, Hans Gruber. Got him. Number 5, Hannibal Lecter.
Sure.
Said you're not taking the slashers, whatever. Oh, here's a great one. You
Did I
gotta
spell
put-
Lecter right?
We can change it later.
Okay.
Change it later. Hans Landa, Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 2 seed.
Lada?
No, Justin Landa. We got. I'm gonna message Justin.
it
We gotta get him.
Landa?
Landa, Landa, Hans Landa. There. They put Kylo Ren as 7. I'll leave that up to you.
If we need him.
We got Anton Chigurh. We're in. Voldemort.
Yeah.
Probably need to put him in.
For sure, Voldemort.
The Alien from the Alien series was 10.
I mean, maybe.
Gollum.
Is that really a villain?
I don't know. I have not seen Lord of the
I
Rings.
think Gollum's really
I have no idea. Sacheron of the Lord of the Rings again.
How about Optimus Prime?
He's the good
Or,
guy.
I mean,
Megatron.
Megatron.
Put Megatron in there. That's fine. Nurse Ratched, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, must make it somewhere. Are you going to do animals or no? Like Jaws?
No.
The T-Rex from Jurassic Park?
Hell no.
Okay. They did the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood.
Somebody did say in the comments he's a Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, yeah, put that in. Yeah. That's got to make it. Yep. They put Palpatine on this list. A lot of Star Wars. Leave it up to you.
I'll put Palpatine.
Norman Bates, Psycho, Slasher.
No.
What?
Nope.
All right. Agent Smith from The Matrix. Probably should make it.
All right.
I like that one.
I'll accept that one.
Freddy Krueger. No.
No.
T-1000. Leave it up to you. And you said no on Michael Myers. You want me to go to Reddit?
Yeah.
Greatest movie villain of all time from Reddit. Agent Smith, Scar, Lion King.
Yeah, he's got to be on there for show.
Amon Goth, Schindler's List. Hans Landa, we already got. Nurse Ratched, we got. Oh my God, Shooter McGavin. We forgot. You got to put Shooter McGavin in there. You might want to put Lion King for Scar because people might not know what you mean there. There you go.
Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin's got to make it.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, come on. Gary Oldman in The Professional. You ever see The Professional? Good flick. Commodus from Gladiator.
How do you spell it?
Do you want to you're going to rip it like that? How many more do we need?
Like 2?
2.
Comet. How do you spell that?
Well, Commodus. De Niro in Cape Fear was really good. Was it Max Cady? Was that not it?
All right, we only need one more.
All right. Darth Vader. There's a Blues Brothers reference here. Which is, Training Day. Somebody actually mentioned that. Alonzo Harris. Alonzo Harris got to make it.
All right.
Alonzo Harris got to make it. I think that's... If you're not going to put Sarion in, which again, I don't know. Khan from Star Trek. Alex from A Clockwork Orange. He's so creepy, man. He's so good.
I think we got a good list.
Somebody says Jenny from Forrest Gump. Yeah, she's a villain. She sucks.
I think we got a good list here.
Kathy Bates from Misery.
I don't even know what that is.
You never seen Misery?
No.
I took my son to go get hair. Shout out to Sean and Jason. Sitting there getting my son's haircut. Misery was on the TV. Oh, great movie. What do you mean?
Never heard of it.
Holy cow. All right.
I like it.
Okay. That's Z and Alonzo, by the way.
Oh, what about Lotso Bear from Toy Story 3?
You're going to put that in, but you're going to put Michael Myers in?
Yes. He's not a slasher.
How are you going to put the Joker and Hans Gruber in the same one? Oh, Voldemort. I was like, what the hell is that? So Chigurh should take Group 4. Group 3 will definitely be Vader, although Hannibal Lecter's a tough one there. That's actually really hard. Nurse Ratched, too. Group 3, it's got to be Landa.
Or Thanos.
Or Wicked Witch of the West. No, I don't think Thanos. Number 1, I got to go Joker. But Hans Gruber's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, solid list. We'll send that out. Get it done. Guards, let's go. Taking on the Twins today. We are the favorites, minus 130 at some books. Over-under is set at an even 8. Gavin Williams on the hill. Let's go. He's got 2 losses and a win in his last 3 starts. Of course, the 1 loss, he got smoked by L.A. Last time out against Tampa, 5 1/3. He only gave up 3 runs. Did strike out 5. Let me get you your strikeouts by MLB team. You know how I do it there. Strikeouts per game. All right. Minnesota's 10th in baseball, so they're not too crazy. So maybe sprinkling Gavin Williams 5 or more. Let's see. Matthews on the hill. For the Twins, Zebby Matthews going tonight. He's got 2 losses and a no decision, 3 1/3, 5 and 2 innings. Dude, he's given up 15 runs over his last 3 starts. And he's got 14 strikeouts in that. Go ahead and give me the Guardians minus a 1.5. I think they just end up smoking the Twins, and I think they got some momentum on their side. They have the pitching edge. Mix in Gavin Williams. Give me 4 strikeouts, Gavin Williams. Guardians minus a 1.5. I wish I had. What are you feeling for a hit tonight? Jose's hot.
Manzardo, baby.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Mix that out and we'll see how it goes. All right, we got to fly. Back at it tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. Go get it, Guards. We'll talk to you then. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.